Hello, today I want to take yet another look at productivity and productivity growth. If you want to see the other videos in this series, you can watch them by following these links right here. Today I want to continue to explore the reasons why we are not seeing the kind of productivity growth we would like to see in developed economies. As a refresher, quickly, this was in the previous video. If we look at a measure of productivity growth here in the United States, we can see that on average, this has been 2.2% growth per year. But if we now dive in and look at the period from 2004 through present, we see that this is only 1.6%, which is a bit weak. We can further refine that by looking at 2010 through the present. We can see there that's only 1.3%, which is, in a lot of people's mind, a pretty dismal number. Now, of course, the question is why. We talked about some of those reasons in the last video. Let's go through a couple of more reasons. One thing we're seeing is that there just aren't the same number of startups. There are fewer startups than there used to be. There's also what we're saying is less productivity enhancing reallocation of production. Well, what does that mean? What that means is we are not seeing the same level of transferring of human capital and monetary capital from less productive companies to more productive companies. Part of the same problem here that's related to startups. We're also seeing some financial frictions out there that maybe we didn't see in the past. So the conditions of the banks aren't there. For whatever reason, we're slowing down the financial transfer of money through loans and things of that nature. And it's really affecting smaller firms disproportionately, causing productivity to decline for whatever reason. These frictions are out there. We're also seeing that low interest rates really aren't great in terms of increasing productivity. So they do help the big companies, but they actually hurt the smaller companies. We also see that we're allowing companies to survive that probably shouldn't be. So we have an increase in the number of zombie companies. These two dynamics are hurting productivity. Now, I have some videos that dive into these two specific things in more detail. You can watch those videos if you follow these two links right here. Now, another thing we're seeing is a disconnect between what companies are paying workers and productivity. This is a little bit controversial, and I honestly need to look into it a little bit more to see, how it really plays out. One argument here is that, in fact, we shouldn't be looking at hourly wages. We should be looking at total comp. And if you included, contributions to 401k and health benefits and some of these other things, that these lines get closer together. But here is it's an interesting dynamic. We're saying, even if it's a perception by employees that, hey, we are being more productive, but we are not reaping the benefits of that, it puts you in a mental state where you're like, hey, how much harder should I work if all of that work goes to the C-suite and the shareholders, and I don't get any of it, even though I am doing some of that work. And in fact, we see some studies out there that say that employee satisfaction is directly related to a lot of things, right? So employee productivity and in terms of firm performance, in terms of revenues and earnings and cash flow and things of that nature. So I think, even if this is a perception out there, that it could be impacting productivity in a number of ways. Again, I need to dive into this a little bit more to understand the controversy out there. There's, two schools of thought in terms of what's happening here, but I think it's interesting for us to think about this being a possible cause for a decline in productivity. Finally, I'm just going to say that I have some additional thoughts that I don't have enough time to cover in this video. I will follow this up with a subsequent video with these final additional thoughts there. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much. I'm Brian Kozlowski.